Hi everyone, Quillfan here again. I thought while I'm at it, because I just finished a video, a walkthrough of the Dust to Onyx deck, I thought I will do a video that I wanted to do for ages, it feels like. Because I wanted to talk about the 3 decks that I almost solely used in 2017. Usually I'm kind of a tarot whore. I jump from one tarot deck to the other. I like to be kind of eclectic. I like to work with this deck this day and then next deck the other day. And so it's just, I rarely ever stick with one deck for a long period of time. But in 2017, I actually only worked with those 3 decks. I mean, I took a couple pictures with other decks for Instagram challenges, but I always kind of caved out after a couple days. So I don't think that I finished one challenge on Instagram last year. I don't think I did. And for personal readings, I only ever used those 3 decks. I didn't do that many personal readings last year simply because I didn't feel like it, because you know how I use tarot for kind of self-development, for exploring my inner landscape, and that only makes sense if you really want to A, want to explore, and B, want to work with what you get. And for that you need energy, and I didn't have one last year, you know. How I kind of was at the limits, I was done last year. So oh, you still can see a bit of Dust to Onyx there. Okay, but whenever I did a reading, it was with one of these 3 decks. So I want to quickly talk about them because they all have some little specialities that I want to talk about. The Dewas of Creation actually being the one that's, I don't have anything really special to say about it because I just could rave on about it forever and ever and ever because I love it so much. This is by Cilla Conway. I edged it silver, as you can see, different shades of silver actually. I doubt that you can see that on camera, but I actually have a crystal, that an agate that I used with this deck that simply matches it perfectly, but I don't have it with me right now. So, oh, it's upside down. This deck is just powerful. I didn't expect it to be that powerful, to be honest. I did expect a lot of it. I rarely do that. I try always to keep my expectations low for a bit. So I'm not disappointed if the deck then cannot kind of match my expectations. But with this one, I had high expectations and it did not fail to impress me. It is so evocative. It just radiates energy. It kind of feels like it channels the universe, which is just amazing. So it is powerful, but it's also very versatile, which I love. I love the images. I love how evocative they are. I love the guidebook that came with it. I don't have it with me right now, but it's just, I love the different elements in it. Like you have you have the animal realm. In this case, you have like the crystals. So it's just, you have the, like the universe, you have the planets, you have everything. It's just, wow, 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 wow. And you can do everything with this deck, whether it's 1 card pulls, whether you want to meditate on a card, whether you want to do a large spread and see where it takes you. It's quite easy to follow like the energy in a reading. It's quite easy to follow the colors actually. So it just works beautifully in larger readings, but you also can read it Lenormand, like quite in a Lenormand style, and I loved to do that. So I did a lot of 3 card pulls with this deck and simply read it kind of as a Lenormand reading. Amazing for that. So again, I would kind of rave about this deck forever, 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 because I just love it and I think it is amazingly powerful. Definitely at this point, I'd say it's my favorite Oracle deck. And I'm not a huge fan of Oracle decks. I don't own that many, but this one just blew my mind. The next one I got was the Sassy Burrito, as people like to call it, the Sasurabito. It is by Stasia, whatever, Burrington. And there is, I mean, it is a cute deck, or people tend to think it is cute. I don't think it's cute in itself, but the artwork is, it's just pleasing to the eye, and it's easy to the eye. It's gilded, as you can see. But there is one thing that is so special about this deck, which really helped it to make kind of the cut. And that's, it definitely has its own language. I know that I always talk about the voices of decks. I actually don't think that a deck has a personality of its own, necessarily. Don't think of it as a being. What I do think, though, is that every deck, every art has a different way of speaking or of sparking reactions within me. So it kind of rings different bells. It kind of, every deck plays a different tune. It pulls different strings within me. So my reaction to each deck is what gives it a different voice. You know what I mean? And this one did play a completely different tune than I thought it would. And it really took me by surprise, and it really is, it's a wonder. I never experienced that with another deck, because it failed to answer my questions in a reading the way I thought it would answer them, because it simply changed the question. And it took me a while to realize it. But once I did, it just was the best experience ever. And we had a connection that was just mind-blowingly beautiful. Because what it did is it changed everything I asked to an emotional level. So, as an example, you do a reading about a decision you want to make. So you do a reading and want to explore path A and path B, and see what will happen on this path and what will the outcome be. So you can then, based upon that, make the decision to go either route A or route B. I did that actually with this reading, and it only answered about the emotional side of things. So how would I feel if I took path A? How would I feel with the outcome of path A? How would I feel if I took path B? How would I feel about the outcome of path B? And it did this with every single reading, every single one. So it was just plainly, it had a direct connection, like the hot seat, like the red line to my emotions, which was absolutely frigging amazing. It also, what I really love, the images are so clear and so, I mean, they're quite easy. Like they're not, you don't have that much on the cards, like in regards of symbols, and it's not overwhelming. Like they're not so, it's not whimsical at all. And yet the expressions, and especially the posture of the people in the cards, makes it it's an amazing read. It's so intuitive, at least to me. I could read it like a dream without even peeking at the guidebook. I did, and I love the guidebook, but it is just, and the use of color, it's just wow. I love this deck so much, as you can tell. Yeah, again, it took me by surprise how it read. And I also love that, with every deck, that if you ask a question and you look at the card and different things kind of pop up and they change the meaning of the cards. I have like extremely. I had this with the Sun, which is usually like a very, very happy card, right? It's a powerful card. It's a joyous card. And in the reading I did, it was an absolute warning. Absolutely, there was nothing positive about it. It was just, and let me see. Maybe I had it already. I don't know. I didn't pay attention actually. Oh, here it is. It was just, it gave me immediately the image of someone burning up, like of Icarus. Like, I don't know if you all know this myth, this tale of Icarus flying, maybe it's Icarus, whatever you pronounce it in English, I don't have a clue. In German, it's Icarus. Of him flying too close to the sun, and the wax of the wings that he created, and he glued the feathers on with wax, and the wax melting because he flew too close to the sun, and so the wings fell apart and he fell down into the sea. So I immediately had this interpretation for the card, which isn't like how I see the sun at all usually, but it was in this reading and it was spot on. So I love this is actually the only card that I cannot really work with because it freaks me out. The idea of being lost in space. Oh my God, I have to think about the, what was this movie with Sandra Bullock and George Clooney? I cannot think about the title right now, but it made me think about this movie and I was like, nope, not going there at all. So again, I just was amazed by this deck. I still am. I still love it. It's still next to my bed all the time. So it's special. Okay, the next one that is very, very special to me is the Healing Light Tarot. It's by Christopher Butler. By the way, can I just say how much I love these new Los Garabio boxes? I mean, they're not that new anymore, and I love the backs of the card. And I edged it in the darkest blue possible. So, the special thing about this deck actually, because I wasn't drawn to the artwork actually. It's not necessarily my style of art, but oh boy, is it powerful. Because what he did is he added this mandorla to the card. And the mandorla is, let me see if I can actually find a card where you can see it a bit better. Oh, here you can see it very well. The mandorla is this little almond-shaped piece that is created if you overlap two circles. And there are actually a couple uses for the mandorla. You find it in Christianity, you find it in religious pictures, where you don't only have like the halo on images of Jesus or Mother Mary, but you sometimes have the figure completely engulfed in this mandorla, and it then stands for sacredness and wholesomeness and holiness. And this is parts of the meaning of the mandorla for me, at least in this deck as well. But it also is connected to the vulva, so the female sexual organs. And with that comes in it a feeling of, or a connection to femininity and a bit more of the emotional side of things and healing, and also manifestation, bringing something into life. And I think this is something this is a part of the mandorla in this deck as well. So there's a lot of things you can actually do with it. And it is amazing if you start to pay attention of where he put the mandorla, of where is the greatest source of power in the cards, where is the greatest source of healing. It's just beautiful. And if you do a larger reading and you follow the mandorla in this reading, it's a mind-blowing experience. But what I also did with the card actually is I used them as one card pulls, which I rarely ever do, but I use them kind of for intention setting and a manifestation for the next day, in the regard of me asking, okay, what energy do I need to manifest? What energy do I need to bring up to make kind of the next day be the best day I can possibly do? And it was always so spot on. It was just, I don't know, it told me when I needed to be kind of more patient, or when I needed to stand my ground, and when I needed to take a breath and simply kind of close my eyes, take a breath, and then go on with life. And it was just the most beautiful experience with this deck. So I actually highly recommend it because of that. What I really love about the concept of the mandorla as well is something that isn't even written about in the book, but because it is created by two circles that are overlapping, there's actually an element of action to it. Because if you managed, it's a bit like temperance, like the card temperance. If you manage to actually overlap those sometimes even completely opposite points, things, scenes, whatever, if you manage to overlap them, you create something new, and you create something that's completely complete, that's finished, that's whole, and that's healthy and powerful. And you find this element of action in the cards as well, as to how to create or how to enlarge the mandorla. Especially, I think, you have it with the High Priestess, which is my favorite High Priestess of all times, I have to say. Let me see if I can find her. Oh, there she is. Because I feel like because of the colors, it's an image that shows how she's in her own landscape, in her inner landscape. But look at her pushing this orb here. I mean, this is just my interpretation, because it isn't written about that like that in the guidebook. But in my way of looking at this, it's just how she is pushing this orb that she has in her hands over the halo created by the moon. And it's just as if she's creating healing, if she's creating this wholesomeness and this completion. And it's just, this High Priestess, really, I just love her so much. I love how she is actually made out of water. It's just, wow. And she, again, isn't inactive. She's not just sitting there, but she actually is doing something. At least in my mind, she is. So, I know. I could rave about this a lot. I won't do this. I will stop now because I wanted to just quickly talk about those three decks, and I did. So mission accomplished. These were the three decks that I actually worked with in 2017. I don't regret a bit. I don't regret buying 1,000 other decks though, because I will come back to them as well. But this is like my tarot journey in 2017. I hope you like this. I need to watch a lot more videos about this topic, because a lot of you put up videos. I know I haven't watched them yet, but I will. So I'm looking forward to that, and I just hope that you're all having a gorgeous day. Bye.